Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We got a good show lined up for you today, and of course my computer is not working correctly. There it goes. We got JC here in just a second, and we're going to be joined by Hall of Famer and golf commentator Gary Koch talking the Masters. I can't wait. As you see, we are coming to you live from Augusta National. We got the clubhouse in the background. JC, too bad you're not here with me.
Oh man, I'm so jealous. God, look
you're
at
on
the
your
weather.
back. You're on your back porch while I'm sitting up here in front of Augusta National and Magnolia Lane.
Right there. Look at the weather you have up there, and the clubhouse is so beautiful. Gosh, you're fortunate. Will you pick me up a visor or maybe another hat when you get up there, please?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this is exciting stuff, QB. We've got, for golf lovers, this is the one, and certainly with coverage of 4.5 hours extending from tomorrow and Friday and Saturday, and then you get 7 hours or whatever it is, 5 hours on Sunday. I just hope that the weather holds up there because a slow fairway, a long Masters, I think will favor the long hitters. The greens will be soft, however, so the good putters should do well. Yeah, and that's not what I'm watching it for. I'm watching it so that I can watch Jordan Spieth make a 7 on 12. And I'm watching it because I want to see somebody make a 7 on 14, hitting it into the tree. I just think that the Masters bring so much, especially on that final round. And with Tiger Woods winning it last year, it really is kind of open to anybody that can win this tournament. I mean, it's an invitational, right? So obviously, if you're invited to play in this tournament, you have a chance to win in most cases, not some of the former champions who are elderly and still playing out of symbolic means. But for some of these golfers who are so long right now and so strong, a course like this will set up to give them an advantage if it's raining.
Yeah, well, first of all, they weren't invited. You had to earn your spot to play in this tournament.
It's not an open. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Well, you still had to earn your way into it. You had to win or qualify.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're a former winner, you come in. Sandy Lau, who's 62 years old, tees off at 7 a.m. tomorrow, and he'll shoot 90.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay. And I like that these former winners get to play. And they do invite certain players who don't qualify. So certainly that's up to their discretion. And those are some of the guys from foreign countries like Japan and South Africa and so forth. You have an amateur event there at the Masters, so the low amateur will be recognized on Sunday. I think that's really cool, and I just think it's certainly being in November, a different type of Masters that we're going to see. Maybe the grass is different, maybe the greens are different. I don't know. I just know that we're going to have game day. College game day is going to be at the Masters. This will be the only chance they have to do that unless they play it next year in November for whatever stupid reason, but they're not going to do that. So this is a unique weekend, a unique tournament for this particular tournament. There won't be much of a gallery at all. So that's going to be very, very strange for me because you know how 18 can be on Sunday with all those people crowded around the green, and you also know how number six, the par 3, with all those fans up on the hill. The ball comes over their head and lands onto that green, and everybody. I mean, that area where 6 is and where 16 is. All that area is so highly populated with fans. Number 16, the hole that often has a hole in one because it's a par 3 where these guys know exactly where to hit the ball and then it rolls in. No fans will be there to give you that crazy roar that you can hear across the entire landscape. And I'm going to miss that part of the tournament. But if you're just looking at it from pure competition and to see who can get themselves a major in an awkward year like this, at least we're having it, and that's better than nothing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're going to get back to the Masters here in a minute. We'll go to college football. But, one thing that I think is going to be interesting, JC, is, as you mentioned, we don't know. It's going to be plush. It's going to be different scenery. You're going to have the different fall colors instead of the spring bright azaleas. But the grass should be the same. But I wonder if they've grown the rough up. Right. And also, you got to remember this, and this is just not for the Masters. This is for so many PGA tournament events. How many times the PGA Tour player gets fortunate when he hits a crazy tee ball, how it hits in the gallery and it doesn't get them in trouble. It'll like bang off somebody. Well, there's not going to be a gallery now. So there is nothing that can help these dudes when they spray it like we do.
No, it's right. And the rough is you make a great point there. I haven't really read anything about how the rough will be.
I wish they would grow I wish they would have grown about like a U.S. Open rough.
Well, I mean, that's that almost borders on unfairness. But
we want it to be unfair.
No,
it's the Masters.
I want it to be hard. I do. I definitely want it to be hard. I don't want to see 20 under par, 17 under par, even 14 under par. I want to see 8 under par, 7 under par, maybe 10 under. And I want to see guys struggle out there to make pars on some of those long par fours. The par fours are so long on this course, and you really have to know how to work the ball and exactly where to hit it on the green. But when it rains like it's going to, or like they say it would or will, and maybe the forecast has changed. It certainly has changed here, and we're only 5 hours south. When the forecast changes, it'll be great to see whether or not the greens will hold up and maybe be fast in some areas of the golf course. We're going to have a system come through here tonight and tomorrow in Gainesville. We expect it to go through Pensacola. Now it's going to come through here. It's going to give us 1 to 2 inches of rain. That could change the forecast up there because it's going to move much faster through the state and through the northeast, and those outer bands will be moving out to sea. So maybe they'll get a break on the weather. It's really hard to predict right now on Wednesday, but the weather means a lot because it'll determine how fast those greens are and how long the course plays. But regardless of all that, the golfers that I'm looking at are the ones who can hit it far as usual. And certainly right now we've got so many guys that can overtake a golf course. And so, will it be one of them, or will it be a guy who's a great putter with a fantastic short game that never fails to get up and in from off the green? And that's, a lot of times the guy who wins. Olazabal proved that. So did Ben Crenshaw. Yep.
All right, well, we're going to get back to golf here in a minute. First of all, we want to thank all our veterans. Today is Veterans Day.
Yes, it is.
We salute the veterans, and we thank you for everything that you're doing and have done. Yes. JC, college football, SEC, a lot of games canceled this week due to the coronavirus.
Let me ask you, are you surprised that LSU isn't playing this weekend? Part of me has this cynical side to me that says they didn't want to play this game from the beginning with Alabama because they know what's coming and what would happen, especially after last year and the way they celebrated the game with Orgeron, with the FU and all that. However, LSU is out. Alabama is out this weekend. Auburn, Mississippi State are out. There are games all across the college football landscape that won't be played. And I guess we kind of figured that this could happen, right? That it would probably happen, actually. And so they do the best they can. But that Alabama-LSU game will not be made up, in my opinion. I think what they'll do is just cancel it and let LSU play Florida, obviously, on the 12th. They'll have to
Well, that ain't fair.
Oh, I know, but what's fair about,
no.
Look, Shane.
Why does Florida? Why do we need to play that game then?
They give away blue ribbons at the fair, Shane. Okay, that's what I got to say about fair. The Pac-12 is out there belly aching.
No. Okay, so just tell me why Florida should have to play LSU the week before the SEC championship game, and Alabama not have to play anybody.
I mean, maybe they cancel that game.
They're going to cancel it. You can book it.
Okay,
there's no way.
That's different. That's different than what has been scheduled, right? Obviously, and that hasn't been announced yet either. But
here's the thing: either here's what's going to happen. Florida's going to play LSU, and they're going to make Alabama play somebody that week as well. Well, they're not going to allow Alabama to have a bye week.
Who would they have to play? I mean, the schedule.
It doesn't matter. They'll find somebody and just make them play a game.
Just find somebody on the schedule to play. What if
everybody's season is already going to be over?
Well, but the makeup game. I mean, what are you going to play Texas A&M twice?
Doesn't have to be
You're going to
Texas
play
A&M.
Arkansas 12, Arkansas twice.
No, but you're not understanding the point. The point is both teams were supposed to have a bye before the championship game, where they're not now. And it doesn't matter because both teams are not going to lose 2 games.
Shane, remember, Florida wasn't going to have a bye before the SEC game a month ago when they canceled the LSU game. Okay, that's been on the schedule for almost 4 weeks.
But we don't. But my point is y'all were supposed to play the same amount of games as we were. There's no reason. There's no reason for Florida to play an extra game when it doesn't matter.
Well, listen, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that unless they cancel it, that game is still scheduled on the 12th. But
they're going.
I like the way you said y'all. I mean, I didn't know I was playing this week. I'm glad I'm off this weekend.
You claim that you used to get dressed in that locker room and run out of the tunnel and play fullback in 1975 for them.
Sure, okay.
But the bottom line is there is no way. Florida plays that game.
There's no way. All right. Well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Okay, but it's still on schedule. And
that's fine. It can be on the schedule.
I'm not disagreeing.
But let me ask you this.
That's
flip
what's on schedule.
Reverse it. Would you think Alabama would play that game? Absolutely not.
If it was on the schedule, they would.
No, they wouldn't. Don't give me that.
Oh,
BS.
So they're just going to say, okay, the game's on schedule, but we're not showing up?
JC, when I'm sitting here telling you, when a game does not matter, whenever y'all are going to play 9 games, why should we play 10 when it doesn't matter?
Well, I don't assume.
You're making no sense.
No. Listen, I'm telling you what's on the schedule. It doesn't matter what sense I'm making. It's on the schedule. And Alabama doesn't have a game.
It's only on the schedule because of the COVID. But
I know that. They haven't canceled the game yet. Now, when they cancel the game, okay. All right. So just say that then. Just say it. I don't care what's fair or not. Nothing's
it's
fair
not
in college
fair.
football.
Fair is not the right word. What I'm trying to tell you is,
that's what you just said.
If Alabama was in the same situation, you would be saying, we're not going to play this game.
Why
There's no
should we
reason
play
to play
the game? Right. There's no reason it doesn't
There's
affect.
zero reason to play the game. Zero.
Well, the college football playoff committee looks at all the games that are played and all the games that aren't played. And certainly there's going to be some teams like Wisconsin and so forth who aren't going to have the same number of games as other teams. Certainly nobody in the Big Ten is going to play as many games as the teams in the ACC or SEC.
But we're in the same conference. So why should Florida play 10 games and Alabama only play 9 when you can eliminate the game?
Well, if you do that, that's one thing. Until I hear them say they do that, though, you have to assume the game's going to be played, right?
Well, they're going to do that, or they're going to put a game. Alabama's going to play somebody else.
We'll see.
Watch and see.
They're
not going to let Alabama have a bye week.
I don't know who Alabama would have to play or who they would schedule them with, but whatever. The scheduling for the coronavirus.
They can make South Carolina go play them. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is there's no way. Now, again, we're talking Birmingham, so Birmingham does lean to the Crimson team a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I can
You sound
I
like such a fan. You sound like such a Gator fan. I mean, a Gator fan's going to complain about Birmingham.
I would say this if it was Georgia.
Birmingham? Let me tell you something. Without Birmingham, there wouldn't have been a season this year. Those guys came in early, okay? Meanwhile, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 didn't do anything.
Even if Georgia was in our position, I would say the same exact thing. There's no reason. The only reason that game should be played is from a financial standpoint, but I don't even know. You only got about 16,000 people that show up for the game. You're not going to make any money.
Well, let's see what happens as we get through November and we get closer to that weekend, because there will be games played on December 12th. We do know that. They are makeup games. Whether they mean something or they should be played or not, they're going to be played. They're not going to cancel December 12th, regardless of who's playing. We'll see what they do with Florida and Alabama, you're assuming right now that Florida and Alabama are going to the SEC championship game, which they have about a 90% chance of happening. But what if Florida what if things happen? I mean, you are making an assumption over about basically a month away of what is going to happen. And in this world, in Corona world that we live in, Corona world, our
whole team's already had assumptions. Our team's already had it.
Hey, you know what? LSU already had it too, and they're not playing this weekend, QB. And
you just said they're playing because they didn't want to play Alabama. They're making up shit.
I'm saying that their reasoning, as an Alabama fan, They know what's going to happen in that game. They don't want to be there. I don't believe that all those players have coronavirus. They had 30 of them have it over the summer. Now, maybe they do, okay, or maybe a trainer has it, and because of contact tracing, we're not going to play 14 other guys who have zero symptoms and are not positive. I don't know. I mean, in the Pac-12, they cancel a game if a guy who wraps your ankle gets non-symptomatic.
I understand that, but all that doesn't matter. Here's the bottom line. Florida has to lose 2 games to not go to Atlanta. Alabama has to lose 2 games not to go to Alabama.
In that case, it depends on who they lose to, because they may lose 2 games and have a tiebreaker. If Texas A&M loses 1 more game and Alabama loses 2 and A&M
I'm
loses
just
2,
saying Florida has to lose 2 games. The bottom line is there is no way that Florida plays LSU if Alabama's not playing a game that week.
Well, I'm not disputing that. I'm not making an argument that Florida won't be favored to win all of these games. But what I am saying, and if you haven't learned anything about this season, is that nothing is predictable. Nothing is known. You don't know about what's going to happen on December.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying there is no way that the league is going to require one of the teams that's going to participate in the championship game to play a game when the other team doesn't. There's no way they're going to do that.
I would say that's probably true, but we don't know that.
Right. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with JC here, we'll be joined with Gary Koch here shortly. All right, JC, let's get to our golf picks.
Okay, we're going to do some golf picks. All right, then I assume we'll talk about Arkansas on Friday. This is blowout
city Saturday night. Okay. Blowout city.
Blowouts.
Yes.
Well, Florida's a 17-point favorite.
Blowout city.
Blowout city. All right.
I know Arkansas is a great story. I love it. I think Sam Pittman's the coach of the year, no matter what.
Sure.
But if you actually watch Arkansas on TV, does anything impress you? No.
Well,
and that's why they're going to get blown out.
The fact that they've won 3 games impresses me because, we saw how bad. Nobody was as bad as that team since 2016.
Okay, that's why I said he's coach of the year. They've won 3 games. It's amazing. They've beaten Ole Miss, they've beaten Mississippi State, and they've beaten Tennessee. 3 horrible football teams.
Yeah, but for Arkansas, this is a great year. And
you didn't hear what I just said.
I did, but you're discrediting their wins. I don't care who they beat.
How do you discredit?
You just said Tennessee, Ole Miss, or Mississippi State, and somebody else were absolutely horrible teams. That really doesn't give Arkansas much credit.
That's why I said they're going to get blown out.
Okay. So we have John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, and Louis Oosthuizen in a group at 7:33 a.m. as one of the groups that I'm going to keep my eye on, because Bryson DeChambeau, of course, your U.S. Open champion, is playing in that group against John Rahm, who's also had a spectacular year. So that group really sticks out to me. Another one that sticks out to me is Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy, along with Patrick Cantlay. A great group that you're going to watch hard is Justin Thomas and Brooks Koepka, along with Matthew Fitzpatrick, because you're such a Brooks Koepka fan. So with the odds that they lay for this tournament, you're going to get the defending champion at 30-1 if you want him. You're going to get Hideki Matsuyama, who finished second one year, at 40-1 if you want him. And you're going to get Justin Rose, a U.S. Open champion, at 45-1. These are some great golfers, right? And these are great odds. Now they have to win the tournament, certainly, but do you see anybody that sticks out in the field that you would say, man, that's a guy that I really think could win this thing out of nowhere?
There's three young guns that I actually love their game, and I think they could easily win this golf tournament. People talk about experience, yada yada yada, but I think the game has changed so much. These kids don't care about the experience and the getting nervous and all that. It's Scotty Scheffler, Cameron Champ, and Matthew Wolff. One of those three have a chance.
Well, of those 3, which one do you like the best?
I love Matt Wolff's game.
You like Wolff? I like Scheffler.
I like them all, actually.
I do too. These are spectacular golfers, and you're right. I don't think these guys are fazed at all by because again, remember there won't be a gallery there. I think that does add to some of the pressure that these guys feel when they do feel, and dudes do feel pressure at the Masters. We've seen it. But I certainly believe that Scott Scheffler and the two others you mentioned, Wolf, are really good dark horses to take. I think Colin Morikawa, if he gets that putter going, can really do something special. He's the PGA champion, right? And he's had probably maybe even considered the golfer of the year this year. Justin Thomas, I think, is really close to getting this one, as is Dustin Johnson. So it's hard to just pick five. I mean, are we going to pick them today or Friday? What do you want to do?
Well, Friday knowing you, Friday, you would be looking at the leaderboard and take all the people that are leading. We're going to pick our golfers now. I just gave you my 3 long shot. I'm going to let you pick. We're going to pick like 3, maybe 4 or 5 golfers, but I'm going to let you go first since you're losing. Who are you picking?
I'm losing what? What am I losing? Well,
you're losing in the picks contest.
QB, I mean, were you even here on Monday? Did you even hear one thing that we talked about on Monday?
Are we tied now?
Yes, we're tied.
Okay, we're tied. Okay, you still get to go first.
Okay. All right, I know. You want me to move. All right, I'm moving. I'm going to take, as my long shot dark horse, Hideki Matsuyama. Okay?
All right.
I'm going to take Hideki. Go ahead.
Well, I took Matt Wolff as my long shot.
Okay, you got Wolf. Okay, here's a favorite I'm going to take because he's an Alabama guy, and I think
of course
close. Is JT. Absolutely.
Yeah, you can have JT. I want Xander Schauffele. I think he's going to win the golf.
You do.
I think he's going to win the golf tournament.
So that's your winner for the tournament, Xander Schauffele. All right.
What are his odds?
He's at 12-1. 12-1. I'll tell you what. I love Dustin Johnson the way he's played this year. I'm going to take him.
That's a good one. That's a good. I'll take Koepka.
You're going to take Koepka? Okay. So there's our 3. Are we taking any more than that, or is that 3?
No, that's fine. I cannot believe you did not take DeChambeau as much as you love him.
You know, I do love that guy. I really love him, but he's the favorite. Sometimes these favorites. I mean, he's the 7-1 favorite. He's the favorite on the board along with John Rahm. But Dustin Johnson's only 8-1. I mean, they're the same, right? So I don't know. I mean, really, is there a difference between DeChambeau and Dustin Johnson? I don't think there is. So you just pick one. All right. So I'll go with Dustin to win it. Along with Dustin, and Hideki. I got the Matsuyama.
All right, good deal. Right. Well, JC, we got a special treat for our folks today. We got a new sponsor on the program. It's our good friends at Comfort Temp. And they're going to sponsor the play of the day or this day in sports, depending on if we have a play. But we have a play of the day from yesterday. And Comfort Temp, comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. This month, get a free annual maintenance plan with every residential duct cleaning purchased, which is a $199 value. Our service department is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your convenience. That's Comfort Temp. Did you see? And we're going to let people. We're running the video right now.
Okay.
John Rahm.
Yes,
John Rahm's holding one on 16.
Unbelievable.
Just so I can kind of let all our listeners that don't follow golf. Usually 16 is one that is packed with spectators and patrons on the practice rounds. And this is something that every golfer does after they hit their practice shots. They walk up to the edge of the pond and they skip balls across it and they try to make it. And they've been doing it for years. And John Rahm hits his ball, skips it across, looks like one of JC's tee shots for real. And I'll be dang, the dang thing went in.
It did. And I mean, that is one of the practice round highlights when they do that, and everybody goes bananas. It's crazy, right? It's a shame nobody was there. Well,
it's all over the videotape. So
yeah, it's all over the videotape, and you know that's cool. He's had a great year, man. I think he's a great golfer, Spaniard, and he's definitely a threat to win this.
Yes, he is. There's no question about it. Well, we want to thank Comfort Temp for sponsoring that segment.
Yeah, cool. Good deal.
So, JC, get your air ducts cleaned.
I might need to after we get this 2 inches of rain that's coming through here. And but that's all right. It'll go fast, and I think the game is going to be safe, and they'll play it on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely playing Saturday.
Yeah, they'll definitely play Saturday. And I hope the Masters isn't delayed, with a lot of rain.
Well, the problem is, with the time change, it gets dark at 4 o'clock, 4:30.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
There's not going to be. I mean, we could easily have, if there's weather issues, this could go into Monday.
Monday, sure, yeah. And I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. I'm just glad they're playing it, right? I mean, we didn't even think we were going to have a Masters this year. So,
All right. Well, JC,
Yeah. All right.
good luck to your golfers.
All right.
We will have our Peachland Dentistry, JC and the QB weekend picks
Friday. By the way, we are 39 and 27, both of us. That is 12 games over 500 against the spread. Nobody else does that on any media outlet as well as us.
The difference is JC, what people don't understand, and that's JC's responsibility on our program, is to pick the games. So he already knows the games that are being picked. He studies very hard. I don't know what the games are until he throws them out here on Friday.
I study.
If I studied, who knows how bad I could be.
Oh, yes. One only wonders why you don't study enough, QB.
Yeah. We got a Facebook Live comment here brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Keith, we got a bunch of guys on here that don't care about our golf talk today, JC. But Keith says he'll take John Rahm after seeing that shot.
I don't blame him. But, hey, man, the guy made a putt that won him a tournament this year from Nowheresville. So, hey, yeah, he's a shot maker, right? He's a shot maker for sure. And I do find it interesting, though, that nobody cares about our golf talk. What is that all about, QB? You're at the Masters.
I don't know how many golfers we have that listen to our program, but maybe we can enlighten them. But if you've never watched golf, this is the tournament to watch.
Yeah.
It's the most famous golf course in the world, probably. Mm-hmm. It's the only major that they play the same course every year. So,
yeah. No, it is.
If you're not a golf fan, this is the tournament to watch. It's beautiful. It's the prettiest piece of property you'll ever see in your life. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, I love going. I got my hat there, and you can buy a pimento sandwich for $2 and a Coke for $1.50. That's the thing. The concessions don't kill you unless you go and buy gear. But the food and the drinks, everything doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, pimento cheese sandwiches are very good there. There's no question about it.
Oh, my God. Yes, they are.
All right, JC. Well, we're going to take a time out here. We're going to try to get Gary Koch, and I'm going to get my golf voice.
Yes, you have to be quiet.
There's JC on the 13th.
Three putty.
He just chunked it in the water.
Do you know what creek that is on 13 that I just chunked it into?
Ray.
That's Ray's it. Creek. Okay, very good. All right. Just keeping you sharp. Right, just want to keep you sharp. Okay. We'll see you Friday.
That's JC.
I'll be in Mississippi on Friday.
All right. That's JC. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Rob says here on the Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, says he's watched the Masters for over 40 years. Keep up the chat. Well, we're definitely going to talk golf when we have majors. But we're going to take our first time out of the program. When we come back, we'll be joined by Gary Koch, former All-American here at the University of Florida, now works for NBC Sports, talking about his career and the Masters. We'll be right back.
This is Shane Matthews. Thank you for listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can also check me out on Inside the Huddle with Steve Russell and the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Tune in every Tuesday during football season on WRUF 98.1 FM, 8:50 a.m. at 10 o'clock in the morning, or find us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Ribs, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Rap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Radware for all your promotional needs, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, everybody. This is Steve Spurrier, former University of Florida head football coach, and I've been blessed with a lot of things during my playing and coaching career here at the University of Florida. Lucky to win the Heisman Trophy way back in '66. We won the national championship in '96. And now we're bringing that same winning attitude to the restaurant game. In the spring of 2021, we're opening Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point right here in Gainesville. So we need the 5-star recruits at all the positions in the restaurant, from the front to the rear. So if you think you got what it takes to make the cut and work for us, I invite you to have a one-on-one meeting and greet with our management team on Wednesday, November 11th at Hotel Indigo at Celebration Point. Learn all about our job opportunities with the restaurant. Now let me make this clear. We're only looking for the best of the best. So if you love your job and you love the restaurant business and want to be part of the most elite team here in Gainesville, then we want you to come and learn more about this experience. With your help and the best food, drinks, and services, we'll make Spurrier's Restaurant the envy of the Bulldogs, the Seminoles, the Vols, and everybody. So we look forward to seeing you November 11th, and we plan to meet at Hotel Indigo at Celebration Point. So go to SpurrierDraft.com, fill out the application, and we'll see you then. Take care and go Gators.
Welcome back to this Wednesday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. At Center State Bank, we put business first. We're the largest community bank in the state of Florida and understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. Center State has 5 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. Center State Bank, member FDIC. I want to thank JC for our heated discussion on Alabama LSU. I'd like to hear your Facebook Live comments while we wait on getting Gary Koch on. If you think it's ridiculous that if Florida has to play LSU the week before the championship game, if Alabama's sitting at home on a bye week, makes no sense to me. I'd like to hear your comments. They're brought to you by Meldon Law. Also, don't forget to refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. November is your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Like I said, we're going to be joined here momentarily. We're trying to get old Gary Koch hooked up to the Zoom app, and we'll be talking a little Masters and talk a little about his golfing career as well. If you got any text, we got a text here actually on the Titan Tomorrow text line. It comes from Joe. He says, Shane, why are you so convinced that we blow out Arkansas? Well, Joe, I do watch a lot of college football. I could be 100% wrong, but from a talent standpoint, we are far superior than Arkansas. I think we have a huge coaching advantage. I do think Sam Pittman, who's not going to be coaching in this game due to COVID, won't be coaching. But Barry Odom, longtime head coach at Missouri, has done a tremendous job with their defense, but they have not seen an offense like Florida's. Florida's offense is loaded, and I just don't see how. I just think we go up and down the field on them. I really do. I think Felipe hit some passes here and there, but for the most part, they don't have the skill players to give us fits. Some people think so. I could be wrong, but I think Florida rolls Arkansas Saturday night as long as the weather cooperates. Still trying to get Gary Koch on. Are we having any luck there? We're not having any luck. We're working on that. We got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. It comes from Scott. He says, I agree it would be ridiculous if we have to play, and they should definitely add someone for Bama to play. Yeah, I don't know why, because that game's not going to mean anything as long as we take care of business in the next few weeks. So stand by, folks. We're still waiting on Gary Koch here to get him on the Titan MR hotline. Again, the Masters kicks off tomorrow. I know a lot of people may not care, but I cannot wait. I will be watching a lot of golf the next few days. It kicks off on ESPN tomorrow at 1 o'clock. In the meantime, we may just have to take another break here until we get Gary Koch on. You think we can do that, Mr. Producer? Hang on, we got another text here on the Titan MR text line. It comes from, is that Leroy? Leroy says, Shane, do you think Kyle Trask will be a first-round draft pick? That's a great question. Right now, I'm not sure if he will or not. Mel Kiper came out the other day with his top 5 picks, or top 5 quarterbacks, I should say, and it was Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, the kid from North Dakota State, Trey Lance, I think is his name, the BYU quarterback, Zach Wilson, and Mac Jones was his 5th. Trask was not in his top 5. That can change. Don't forget, Trask has an opportunity to come back and play and be a Gator next year. So we shall see if that happens. Thanks for the text. We got another Facebook Live comment here brought to you by Meldon Law. And it comes from Gene. Gene says, so UF passes on a home game, guess not much revenue due Corona, and cancels LSU. It does not matter. Better to be healthy and rested, I assume. Well, you're right, Gene. I think a lot of the decision will be due to revenue, but when you only have 18,000 people in the ballpark, I don't know how much money. They're not making any money. They're still losing money. So I would think the bigger picture is us being healthy and ready to roll against Alabama. So we shall see. It'll be interesting. Mr. Producer, why don't we take our second time out of the program and try to see what the problem is here and get Gary Koch on. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Hey Gator Nation, this is your former head ball coach Steve Spurrier. Check out our show Inside the Huddle with Shane Matthews and Steve Russell every Tuesday during football season on 8:50 a.m. and 98.1 FM WRUF at 10 o'clock a.m.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Pomodoro Cafe, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Aver and Smith Personal Injury Attorneys, Orange Theory Fitness, PRP Regeneration Specialist, and Dowling Signs. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to this Wednesday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Celebration Point's where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Tommy Hilfiger, Hotel Indigo, Nike, Skechers, Sushi Hana, and coming spring of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators come to celebrate. We're now going to go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by a guy that played with the head ball coach a couple of weeks ago in Danny's event, our good friend Gary Koch. Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Shane, I'm doing fine. Thank you. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Well, Gary, you were an All-American golfer here at the University of Florida. I feel like I got to talk in my golf voice now. Slow down, be kind of quiet.
Quiet. That's right. Quiet now. Quiet.
Let all our listeners know, obviously, Florida had won a national championship back in the day, I think, when John Darr Sr. and that crew back in the 60s when Coach Spurrier was here playing. Then y'all came along in the 70s and won a national title. What made you want to be a Gator?
Well, obviously, having lived in Florida, I was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, ironically, but we moved to Florida when I was 8 years old. That's where I started playing golf down in Sarasota. And, it was a combination of things. One, I got to a point where I was good. I won the state junior event 3 years in a row. So I was being recruited by a number of different schools. At the time in Sarasota, there was a guy who had played on the golf team at Florida by the name of Laurie Hammer. Had played with Bob Murphy and some of the guys right before they won the 68 national championship. And Lori said, you really ought to take a close look at Florida. And of course, I knew that was one of the schools that I really wanted to look at closely. You have to remember back in the 70s, Shane, there really were about maybe 5 schools. If you were a really good player that you were going to go to, it was Florida, Wake Forest, Texas, Houston, Oklahoma State. And, if you were out west, maybe USC. Mm-hmm. And back in those days, those really were the teams that had a legitimate chance to win the national championship on a regular basis. So I came up to Gainesville on a recruiting trip. In fact, I was on the sidelines when John Reeves threw the touchdown pass to Carlos Alvarez against the University of Houston. That was my recruiting trip. So obviously being at Florida Field and just being a part of, all the excitement when they, plastered Houston so easily. And, John Reeves was from Tampa and I had met him before. And, just a combination of things. Coach Buster Bishop was a great coach, a wonderful motivator, seemed to be able to, figure out how to motivate each person individually. Because, golf is so different than most of the other sports because you're trying to bring together individuals who are used to playing individually, yet come together as a team. And he just had a wonderful way of doing that. And, the fact that it was 2 hours away from home didn't hurt. I could come home when my laundry needed being done and have my mom do my laundry. So, it was just a 2-hour run down Interstate 75. So combination of things, but I think deep inside, I was always thinking in terms of being a Gator and, it was the right decision.
When you look at the UF golf course, I want to say the layout was the same when you played as when I was in school. It wasn't the greatest layout, in my opinion. It wasn't really ever in great shape. And then they redid it 10 or 15 years ago, and now it's in phenomenal shape. Do you like the changes that they made?
I do. When I played there, and I guess probably when you did as well, there were 6 par 5s, 6 par 4s, and 6 par 3s. It was a very interesting golf course from the standpoint that the par 3s were everything from about 120 yards up to about 240 yards, which back in our day, that was a full 3-wood and you were hoping to get it there. But I felt like with all the par 5s, it really kind of gave us a chance to learn how to score, to shoot good scores, to get under par, get more under par and be able to post low numbers. The current course now, I couldn't agree with you more, is in wonderful condition. It's definitely a different test of golf. Good, no question about that. But I don't think it allows the guys, they play it to a par 70 now instead of par 72. And I don't think the guys get used to shooting low scores like we did when we played at the university course. And again, I'm not saying that's good or bad. I think it's just different. And, I do believe that at some point, for the University of Florida golf team to get back to the prominence that it once had, and it's headed in the right direction. Don't get me wrong. Coach J.C. Deacon's doing a wonderful job recruiting great players. They definitely need a practice facility that competes with, the other schools, especially in the SEC. A lot of these schools have gotten big donations and have, adequate property to really, come up with just phenomenal practice facilities. The university course now is adequate, but I don't think it matches up with some of the other facilities, especially in the SEC.
Yeah, I agree. We're speaking with Gary Koch here on the Titan More Hotline. Gary, you play professionally, and I don't think people realize how difficult that is because it's just you, man, you and your caddy, and you got to go battle. What got you into commentating?
About a year and a half of very poor golf. I say that jokingly, but it was true. I had won a tournament in 1988, which was my 6th win on the tour. I'd had a nice career. Nowadays 6 wins, a lot of people think you're a superstar. Back in my day, I felt like 6 wins was a good career, but certainly not, star status. I went through a period of time not long after that where my game started to deteriorate. Really just, couldn't figure it out. And, when at that point in time in my life, I had 2 small children and a wife that were, at home here in Tampa full time. The kids had started school. And I'd be on the road, 1,000 miles from home and staring at another hotel room wall and have shot another 72 or 3 and was trying to figure out how I was going to make the cut so I could make some money and not lose money that week. Mm-hmm. We were, ironically, it was a University of Florida golf team fundraiser that provided me the opportunity to get into television. We were doing our, what we did back then, this was 1990, spring of 1990. We used to take, for a while there, we took Gator Golf Day around the state to different locations, to try to make it a little bit easier for supporters of the program to participate. And we were having our Gator Golf Day at Lake Nona in Orlando, the day after the Bay Hill Invitational. Bob Murphy was there, and he came up to me and he said, "Have you ever thought about doing television?" And I said, "Well, right about now, yeah, I'd love to think about doing television because my game is terrible." Bob was working for ESPN at the time. They had started covering what was then the Senior Tour. It was Bob, Jim Kelly was the host, and Jim Colbert was on the ground as the walking announcer. It was really just a 3-man team. Well, Murphy told me that Colbert was getting ready to turn 50, had already told the people at ESPN that I'm going to leave when I do turn 50 and I'm going to go try to play. So they were looking for somebody to replace him. I said, yes, I would love to take the chance and see if anything came of it. At that point in 1990, I was still an exempt player from having won the Las Vegas event in 1988. Sure enough, I got a call from the producer at ESPN. His name was Andy Young, saying I've got about 5 or 6 opportunities coming up here the second half of the year where we could use you and see if we think you're any good and see if you think you like it. Naturally, of the 5 or 6 weeks, 4 or 5 of them were weeks that I normally played those tournaments on the tour. So I had a big decision to make. I discussed it, with my wife and some close friends here in town. And, the conclusion was the opportunity to get into television didn't come along very often. There weren't that many spots. And, if I was ever going to do it, this might be the time to try it. I did work those 5 events for ESPN in the fall of 1990. They offered me a full-time contract in 91. And I went to work and basically, quit playing at, I guess I was 38 years of age, which, by a lot of standards is young. But, I'd had a good full 15 years of playing. And, I just welcomed the opportunity to try something different, but yet it allowed me to stay around the game and the people and still feel like I was a part of professional golf.
Well, you do a tremendous job with NBC Sports. There's no question about it. And let me ask you this real quick, and we're going to have to get you back on another time because you got some good stories, I'm sure. What's your favorite event that you've covered? Now, obviously, I don't think you've ever commentated in Augusta, which I'm sure that would be awesome if you could do that, but we know CBS has those rights. What's your favorite event that you've covered as the announcer so far?
Well, Shane, I was fortunate enough to cover an event at Augusta last year, the inaugural Augusta Women's Amateur event. I was part of that telecast. So that was a real treat, especially to be part of history when you're, involved in the very first one. But I would have to say, a real toss-up between probably the Players' Championship. I've gotten to make the calls at the 17th hole now for about the last 17 or 18 years, which, is a lot has happened there through that period of time. And then the Ryder Cup. There is no other event in golf like the Ryder Cup. The Masters is a phenomenal individual tournament. The The Players is great, the U.S. Open, the Open Championship that we do now over in England and Scotland. But the Ryder Cup brings out emotion and feelings and things that you just don't see from, players on a normal basis. And the energy, the excitement, you can hear it in our voices because it is electric. And, they were talking about possibly playing this year without fans at Whistling Straits. And those of us that have covered the event, and I've done every one since 1997, it was like you can't have the Ryder Cup without the fans. I mean, you just can't do that. The fans make it. And so, probably a slight nod to the Ryder Cup as my favorite event to do.
Yeah, we got about 5 more minutes here with Gary Koch, UF Hall of Famer. Let's talk Augusta National. A couple questions here for you. How do you think the course is going to play differently now in November compared to when they play in April? And give me some of your picks who you think may be a dark horse or who you think is going to win the tournament.
Okay. Well, Shane, again, from listening, and I've talked to a couple of my colleagues that are up there for Golf Channel, it appears that there is more Bermuda grass around the golf course than they would normally see in April. The Bermuda grass is overseeded, and then normally they have the entire fall and winter for the overseed to come in. With it being played in November, the overseed went down, but of course they've had some warm weather there in Augusta. So there is more Bermuda grass in the fairways and around the greens. And I think it's around the greens that could cause, I don't know, I don't want to say issues, but certainly cause the players to have to play some different shots than maybe what they would normally play in April. A little grain in the grass, which, you know as well as I do, you're a good player. When you're chipping around the greens, and especially at Augusta where a lot of the greens are elevated and you're playing into the grain of the grass, it's not easy to make, clean contact every time. So I think that'll be a little bit of a factor. Several of the players have said that, even playing off the fairways are a little bit different because there is more Bermuda grass than normal. The greens, it sounds like they are typical for Augusta. They'll be as fast as they want them to be. I love how the fact that they never put out a number on the stimp meter as to how fast they are. Players often estimate that that they could easily be running 13, 14 on the stimp meter. I think that'll be the same. As far as some picks, I was looking through some of the odds and some of the players. I was fascinated to see Jason Day at about 30-1. Jason's a major champion and hasn't played particularly well of late up until just the last few months, where he seems to be getting his game back. He hits the ball high, which is a prerequisite there at Augusta. Big advantage going into the greens. Good putter. Always been a good putter. Actually, had led the PGA Tour several times in strokes gained putting. And what I like, too, is he kind of picks the ball. He's not a guy that hits down on the ball very hard, which, they're calling for quite a bit of rain here, today and even into tomorrow's opening round. So a guy who can kind of pick the ball off the fairway, often in the wet conditions, seems to have a little bit of an advantage. So I'm going to say, Jason Day, even though he's a major champion, at around 30-1, he's kind of my dark horse pick. For a favorite, I'm going to say Jon Rahm. He's having a magical week up there already. I'm sure you saw the video of his hole-in-one skipping it across the water on 16. And I guess that's his second ace up there this week. He made an ace on number 4 on Tuesday, or on Monday. So, and he had his birthday yesterday. So I think it could be a magical week for him. He's got, a game that just is, there are no weaknesses. His body reminds me a lot of a young Jack Nicklaus, especially his lower body. He's got these legs that are like tree trunks, and he uses his lower body beautifully to create power. He likes to fade the ball. Everybody talks about Augusta that, you need to hit a draw off the tee. Well, I would agree on, maybe 2 or 3 holes. It's important to be able to draw the ball, but it's really, in my mind, being able to hit some fades into some of the greens. And that's Jon Rahm's predominant shot. He loves to fade the ball, as did Jack Nicklaus. And, it worked pretty well for Jack, 6 green jackets. So I'm thinking John Rahm is ready, and that's where my money goes as far as a favorite.
All right. Well, that's great stuff, Gary. Like I said, we'll try to get you on when it gets closer to TPC, because I want to talk a little bit more about your career, being inducted into what it was like being inducted to the UF Hall of Fame, all that good stuff. But we appreciate you taking the time today to join the program.
Shane, always a pleasure. Great seeing you a couple of weeks ago, and keep working on your golf game, buddy. And I look forward to when we get a chance to tee it up together.
Yes, sir. That's Gary Koch. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. Today's show is a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Be safe out there, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.